And one of the things that my lab has been working on, we do have some funding from the USDA as part of a larger multi-state project. And we've been looking at what is called the critical weed-free period in hemp. And all crops have this sort of theoretical concept where, if you can control the weeds during so many weeks initially as the crop gets established, then you can maintain reasonable yields by the end of the season. So there's this critical period when plants are more sensitive to competition, and you have to really take care of the weeds during that period of time. Well, we were looking at this, and there were students in my lab that were hand weeding our hemp plots at different intervals throughout the season. So some of the plots were not weeded at all. We planted the hemp and walked away, basically. And then there was a treatment that was only weeded for a week, and then 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and so on. And there was one treatment that was weeded for the entire season. So we were all a little surprised when we did a preliminary analysis of the data, and we found that statistically there was no difference whether or not we didn't weed the plants at all, or whether we weeded for 87 days, which was the entire season.
Wow.
So, exactly. That's that's what we thought as well. We could see a little bit of evidence for heavy grass competition. So we could see that the plots where there was a lot of grass competing around. Those were our 14-day weed treatments. But we could see a hit in the overall biomass with some of the competition. But it was just amazing that statistically there was no difference. So we're now in our second year of that study, and we'll be doing a more detailed data analysis, and we'll be looking at all the different yield components, because that was just a rough look at overall biomass of fiber and dual purpose crops. So yeah, it seems like it's one of those crops where if it gets a head start, it's fairly competitive.
Interesting. Yeah. So timing is everything.
Yeah, it is. It is.
No, but so just want to make sure I heard that correctly. So the amount that you weeded, whether you did none at all or you weeded throughout the whole thing, it didn't have an effect on the overall yield at the end?
It didn't on the overall biomass that was produced, not looking at quality of fiber or amount of seed yield. So just overall plant biomass. Now, there may be differences for each of those components, right? Because plants will, it's an investment strategy, right? So they may have been investing in growth and in structure and putting less into seed production, for example. So now that we have 2 years of data, I hope that we're able to sort of tease apart any of those differences. But and now we do have, of course, we have a pre-emergence herbicide that's labeled as well. So if farmers want to grow hemp now, there's more tools available to give the hemp a head start.